Hey guys, Shadowhunt005 back with another Pokemon video, and this time I'm doing something a bit different as I am joined by my friend and fellow professor, Professor Geran.
Well, thank you for that, Shadowhunter 005.
So we're gonna do a little chat about the Pokemon Let's Go. As of this week, we got two releases with Pokemon Quest and Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. We may talk about Pokemon Quest another time, but I'm more interested in the Pokemon Let's Go series, as I'm sure Professor Garen, you are as well.
I am indeed. I'm so looking forward to this. For the first time, we'll have a game that is console and a full game, but also multiplayer from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's something we're gonna have a little chat into. First of all, I do want to say I'm having a look at a lot of what people are saying. There seems to be some belief that this is a main series game. First thing I want to say, to me, this is not a main series game.
I mean, there's potential there from what I've seen, but at the same time, the other thing from what I can see is it could be a case of a whole new reboot with the Pokemon Go side of things actually being integrated into it as well, which looks really good. And it means that there's a lot more potential for everyone then.
Yeah, but I think this is more a slight spin-off, and as I
Yeah,
say, it's
but at the same time, Game Freak are working on it, and Game Freaks don't normally work on spin-offs, do they not?
I'm not too sure. I will have to have a look up on that because now you said this is the first console game. That's not
Okay, let me
entirely
correct
true.
myself. No, it's not because we've had some wonderful ones, but what I mean is full-scale game. Whereas with the console games, we've had things such as Stadium 2. We've had Battle Revolution following similar format to the Stadium games. We've also had Gale of Darkness XD and Colosseum as well.
Yeah, to which main game wise, I would class Colosseum and Gale of Darkness as main story games. The other ones, they're more fighters.
Yeah, the Colosseum set were really, really well done. I'm very disappointed they didn't repeat that for the Wii, or the Wii U even.
Yeah, because I personally enjoyed Gale of Darkness. Amazing game. Going back to the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. First of all, which one are you going to get? I can already guess which one, but I'll let you say.
Well, I'm going to say this much. Your guess is absolutely right because I know that you know me that well. My, it is going to be the Eevee one
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Pikachu, I feel, is extremely overrated and extremely underpowered for what he could be. But at the same time, different things that he can be done, he is overpowered. Eevee has
Mm.
a nice balance, has many different possibilities, and depending on how the player plays with Eevee, or the
Mm.
evolutions, or evolutions, if you will, they can actually make a meta team. They can do tournaments.
This is also a Pokemon game where you cannot, for the first time in a proper game, battle outside of actual actual battles. You can't battle wild Pokemon.
Really?
Yeah,
So, from what you said, then it's a case of specific encounters, not randoms. And as far as random stuff goes, you're using Pokemon Go for that bit.
well, that's another thing. You don't get random battles. How it works is there is a battle system in place. However, that battle is the trainer battles. You have that. But when it comes to the wild Pokemon, first of all, it's not the random encounters that you would get in the main series games. You walk into grass, something pops out and it's random. Instead, what they're doing with this one is how you've got in Pokemon Go, where you walk up, you can see what Pokemon it is, you walk up to it, and you can capture it basically. That's the system that they're going with this game.
Right,
This
can I
is
be
one
honest
of
here
the.
then?
Yeah.
I love the sound of that because for ages, since back in the days of Red, Blue, and Yellow, when Red first came out, Red and Blue, or rather Red and Green in Japan, I
Mm-hmm.
was quite happy to go along and hope that I was finding that what was coming up was what I wanted. There were some Pokemon I didn't want to catch. I just caught them for the Pokedex value, and that was me at 7.
But this time, you can actually see what Pokemon is coming up, and you can walk up to that specific Pokemon. I think in the trailer specifically, they have a moment where you are walking up to a Clefairy. Oh yeah, they've got one where you just walk up to a Pidgey. Now, the Pokemon will still be moving around, so it is a possibility you're not wanting to go to that Pokemon, but the Pokemon will be walking into you.
Of course, that's expected.
But other than that, yeah, it's less random. It's more of a you're walking into the desired Pokemon. So
See,
yeah.
that's what I want to hear. That's a game I've played all the others with the exception of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, right?
Mm,
But that to make it so that I know what I'm walking into, it means that I haven't got to waste Pokeballs. I can buy, say there's only 151 Pokemon in the game, including Mew and Mewtwo. Just for example, right now,
mm,
that means I only have to buy 140 roughly Pokeballs.
mm.
And as long as I get every time, as long as I get a perfect catch each time, I shouldn't have to worry. I should only have to spend that, buy that many.
Mm. Now, going back to what you were saying about how many Pokemon are in the game, you are right. Featured in the game, there are 151 Pokemon, and some Alolan Pokemon.
Oh, okay, so we've got essentially Kanto with Alolan variants pushed in.
Yeah, so when you originally said it's a remake of Kanto, essentially you're right. It is a slight remake of Kanto. I don't know whether it's going to be the Kanto region, whether it's going to be less or more or different region altogether, but it'll certainly have the first 151 Pokemon. Now, we all know one of those Alolan variants because it came out on Pokemon Go at the same day. The one that I probably have the least amount of liking to, you'll
I
know
have no
which one
respect for it.
you know which one I'm on about. That stupid Dragon Tree.
Yes, I know exactly which one you're on about because
And
I
you
managed to
you
catch it
told
the
me you
same
caught.
day.
Yeah, how many did you catch?
Two in the end. The second one I
Two.
caught first time round. The first one, the one I sent you on a
Mm,
screenshot, is actually that took two Great Balls. The other
mm,
one I caught with a single Great Ball,
mm.
and it was actually stronger, and it has a Dragon move and a Grass move. But I still have no respect for it because at the end of the day, I'm a Charizard player alongside being an Eevee player.
Mm.
Now, being that Charizard player, what am I going to do with a Grass Pokemon? Never mind the
Oh
Dragon.
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah, but
burn it.
it's a stupid typing in the first place. But we'll move on to that. We'll have an argument about the Alolan Executor another time because I'm sure people will want to see a video on us trash talking that Pokemon. Um, one person who, for my viewers, one person I was also hoping to get into this chat was Mini Mosha B, because she would have also, I'm sure she would have loved this conversation about Pokemon Go, because I know you and B play a lot of Pokemon Go. Now, I did dabble in it to the start, but I fell out with it because, one, there wasn't a lot in it at the time. Two, my phone would not... I couldn't keep it on my phone. My
That's
phone did not have a
understandable.
lot
It
of
is a
memory.
large game. Also, I've had a love-hate relationship with it because of the way that the system works. You
Mm,
hit the level cap if you started playing at the beginning, you hit the level cap too soon, it put you off. Then there
yeah.
wasn't too many Pokemon around that you hadn't already caught, so you weren't going to bother with that. That's what happened
But
to me.
now they've but now they've got a lot more Pokemon. Now, what is it? They're bringing out Gen 4 for Pokemon Go soon, aren't they?
Yes, I believe so.
Now, the one thing that is interesting, going back to Let's Go, is the fact that you can only get the first 151, yet Pokemon Go is expanding to get the newer ones. My question is, are we going to look at possible expansions for these games?
I would assume and hope so, to be honest.
Because it seems weird that this is essentially the first Pokemon game that would limit to the first 150. Bear in mind, there's what, over 800 now.
803, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably around that. I can't remember.
I can actually double check now with my trusty Pokedex.
Bear in mind that might not include the new mythical that's coming out.
Which one's this? Oh, the one that the surprise gift.
No. The one that's being released for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I will get a name for you now.
Oh, is this the yellow thunder type one?
Yes, the Yellow
No,
Thunder type one.
that one is
Zero.
included in my Pokedex.
That one is. Oh, that's interesting. But yeah, going back to what you were just saying, that mysterious... Yeah, there's 807 Pokemon at the moment that we are aware of.
807?
Yes. But there is this new one that's coming up, which is interesting. Possibly number 808?
Personally, I'm hoping they do a whole new generation, even if it is just a small boost, because Eevee trainers like myself have been longing for the other types that are not around, such as dragons, rock, fighting.
Now I did hear that there was going to be another evolution. Whether this is number 808 or this theoretical 808, whether it's going to be in a new generation, I've no idea. But this is probably going to be the start of the next gen of Pokemon.
I'm hoping that, again, I'm hoping, I'm really hoping
that a new gen will come out.
Even if it's just a small, say, 100 at most come out, and it's just extra evolutions for Pokemon that are now unappreciated, like Arcanine, Houndoom, or not even evolutions, just Alolan variants. Arcanine would look beautiful as an ice type, but
now I want to be very careful with what we're talking about here, because I remember when Alolan variants first came out in Sun and Moon, did you see some of the speculation on some of the Alolan Pokemon that were going to come out?
I saw some. I tried to avoid it, so I didn't actually get any spoilers.
That's good, because not only did you avoid spoilers, you also avoided a lot of fakes, which a lot of people started to believe in. One very infamous one was the Alolan Arcanine that you were talking about. There was a image that came out of a water-type Arcanine.
That would be fantastic at the same time.
Everyone was hoping for it. It didn't happen in the end. So, yeah. Will we get newer variants? I don't know. Maybe it was just a fad similar to how Mega Evolutions seem to have just been a fad that have phased out. They were in one generation of game and then they disappeared.
Again, well, they did include them in the Alola stuff for Ultra Sun. For Sun
yeah, but they didn't bring out any... But they didn't bring out any new ones.
No, I was disappointed with that because there was a few that could have done well.
Now, another thing in the Let's Go that I'm sure, I know I've looked forward to, I'm sure many people have looked forward to ever since Pokemon Yellow, where this feature first appeared, and when it was...
Oh, we're on about the same feature that reappeared then in
Heart Gold, Soul Silver? Yes, we are. We are on about the Pokemon Following You feature, which is even more brilliant. Since Pokemon Go has come out, we now have models. Now with the Let's Go, we have a 3D model. So it would only make sense that you would have Pokemon following you, because... the one reason why you don't get that in many main series games, I believe, is because you would have to build a 3D model for each individual one. Especially with the fact that since X and Y, they've stopped going with the 2D animation of the Pokemon games and gone for a 3D animation. It would be a lot harder to get 3D animation of all 807 Pokemon and bring them all out at the same time and have them being able to follow you. However, I think that's one of the things I can say about, since Pokemon Go, they've got a team that are building these 3D models and they're bringing out in stages, essentially. And this is the first game where we're seeing the first 3D models of these Pokemon actually following you. And it only makes sense to me.
Well, I mean, like we said, they did it in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I was actually
Well, you gotta, yeah. Well,
Hyped
you
up a bit
also,
at the time, hoping that they were going to carry it on because they showed they could do it. I don't understand
yes,
why they
but
didn't do it
remember
in black
in
and
in
white.
Heart Gold Soul Silver, that was still a 2D format. Essentially, you only needed four variants of the sprite. Well, three variants of the sprite, which is a front view, a side view, and a back view. Whereas with a 360-degree game, you would need a 360-degree viewpoint. It
Yeah,
would
that's
have been a
true.
lot harder to have done that. After the Heart Gold and Soul Silver, yes, there are games which I did not forget whatsoever that didn't implement that feature, but after X and Y, I can perfectly understand why that feature didn't exist.
Yeah, I can understand after X and Y because it's
Yeah,
new
new
tech.
tech.
It was for the 3DS, so it was
Yeah,
slightly different.
but certainly now that they've brought that back, and especially that they've brought that back in the Switch, because let's be honest, the Switch can hold a hell of a lot more than the DS's. It only makes sense that this game, and I'm going to, I'm going to throw it out there. I would say most games now that are going to be on the Switch are going to have the Pokemon Follow feature.
I can certainly hope so, and from what I can gather, I believe that this is the end of the life cycle as such for Pokemon games on handhelds because the way the Switch works, it is both handheld and actual
Now,
home
yes,
console.
yes, you're right. A few other things that have raised my eyebrow. Certainly, one that's a good one is the two-player co-op.
I'm quite intrigued with this because if two people have a Switch at uh, their own houses, so for
Mm.
example, myself and you now, so we both have our own Switch. I decide I'm going to come over to yours and we're going to have a round on Let's Go.
Mm.
We're going to go and hunt off together. I don't know. Say for example, from the trailer, we're going to try and hunt, catch Mewtwo
Yeah.
because we've done everything else we can do. How is that going to work? Am I going to have to bring my would I have to bring my Joy-Con over? Will I have to bring the whole thing over and attach my Joy-Con and import my character to the Joy-Con?
This is something that's confusing a lot of people, it seems, because I was just having a look at one of the sources. The online feature, been a lot of confusion. Some places are saying that it lacks the online feature, whereas others say that it is on there, but you'll need to have Nintendo's online subscription.
Yeah, it's very similar from what I can remember. It's very similar to the PlayStation Plus and
Yeah, Xbox Live. Now, because of this, there has been some clarification that it will have online battles and trades, and it will require the Nintendo Switch Online subscription, but it will lack the GTS, Battle Spot, and Wonder Trade systems.
it's not having Wonder Trade, GTS, or Battle Spot.
No, no, it's not.
Okay, so that means if you're looking for a specific Pokemon, you can't Wonder Trade and hope for the best.
Yeah.
You will have to trade with people that you know, or assuming they run in the friend code system again,
Well,
and
no,
friend code share
actually,
with someone else online.
one sec, you're just disappearing. I don't know whether you're going away from the mic or not.
Sorry, I do apologise.
That's fine. Um, it's from what I'm to understand, it's even more complicated. I mean, people are saying that it's being simplified. It seems like the only way that this trading in that is going to work is from the actual Pokemon Go to the console, or to
Okay,
Let's Go. Now, what the weird part is, so basically, you catch something on Pokemon Go. For instance, let's go back to your lovely dragon tree. So, where you've caught that on your phone, on Pokemon Go, you can transfer that to Pokemon Let's Go.
okay.
However, they then go to the Go Park, which is part of the Pokemon Let's Go game, and you can interact with those Pokemon there, and you can catch them in the park.
This feels very recycled, like the PAL Park from Pearl and Diamond.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. Well, it's exactly like that. It's a one-way system.
So what you're saying is, if I was to send, say, said Dragon Tree over, that's it. It's gone off my Pokemon Go profile, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
onto my Let's Go Eevee save, for example.
Mm-hmm. And it's non-transferable back.
I'm not sure how to feel about that. I didn't like it back when he did it, and I took everything that I could from my Game Boy saves. It
Mm.
was Emerald. I had 100% completed that. There was nothing else I could do at all in the game, so I transferred everything.
Mm.
I transferred everything over to my Pokemon Diamond, and 2 weeks later, my Pokemon Diamond cartridge actually malfunctioned.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah,
That's the one thing that's disappointed me as well, because I was thinking, okay, well, if I get back into Pokemon Go and I decide, oh, I've got a Charizard on there, I put it into my Pokemon Let's Go, I then train it up on there, and I want to transfer it back. Nope, not gonna happen. If you transfer it to Pokemon Let's Go, you cannot put it back onto your Go. Now, obviously, this is interesting because it essentially means that there is one interaction you can go from Let's Go to Pokemon Go, which is this Pokemon 808. But is that the only interaction you can go from Let's Go to Pokemon Go?
I'm not sure. I think on that we will have to
I
wait and see.
I mean, the other possibility is you might be able to send items from Pokemon Go to Let's Go, because although it says you can't retransfer the Pokemon, that doesn't mean that items, you might be able to buy items in Pokemon Let's Go, like potions, and transfer those over. That's what I'm guessing.
Well, the thing is, items these days in Pokemon Go are so plentiful that I'm throwing away potions and super potions left, right, and center.
Fair
I'm
enough.
throwing away revives
Or
because I've got
maybe
that many of them.
maybe those are transferable between the two. I don't know.
I can hope
Might be.
so. Have you seen the new controller that is coming out as well?
Yes, I was just going to go on to the Pokeball controller. But before we do talk about that, there is one more feature about the two-player that I wanted to talk about, which was the how the capture works. Because from what it looks like on the captures, you're both capturing the same Pokemon. As you remember, I sent you I think I sent you a screenshot. I certainly said dual wielding Pokeballs.
Yes, that would be something that you sent me by all.
It might
Yes,
not have
and I
been a
actually saw the
screenshot, but
scene in the trailer for that. I was quite impressed with that actually.
yeah. However, it does. What you're essentially doing is you're using the same Pokeball to capture the Pokemon. So only one person's going to get that Pokemon. Although, as we said
I'm
earlier,
not sure because if they both sync up and they both catch as one, then surely you both get it.
well, that's the thing. I'm not sure it works like that because, as I say, in the trailer, the two people, one gets given the controller. It's still on the same profile, so I'm wondering whether although it's a two-player game, it's still only on one profile.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
So any progress that a second person actually makes is going to essentially be null and void when, at the end of the day, you finish playing the game and the second person goes home, and it's a bit weird like that. It's something that I'm concerned about.
I have a funny feeling that it will be a profile system as such, so one profile to a save as such.
But looking at the battles, you're having essentially an unfair system where it's 2v1. So it's interesting with that 2v1 system. So you and player 2 have your Pokemon out. The opponent, being an NPC, brings out one Pokemon. There has to be some sort of disadvantage to that, because otherwise that's just kind of unfair to the person to the computer.
Yeah, especially the way I play the games anyway, because I train my Pokemon up to be fast and they've got the strength as well.
Yeah.
So chances are, I'm their first move. That Pokemon is going to get knocked out.
Now, bear in mind that there is, from what I can see on here, there is an experience bar as well, because that's one things about the battles. the battle system that's always been there is the experience bar going up and leveling up. That does look like it's still in this game. So that is an argument to say, well, yeah, it's kind of still a main series game.
It would mean that you're leveling up slowly.
Yeah, it does mean leveling up slower. You're not getting the battles outside, so it is through pure trainers that you're gaining experience, unless there's something else that hasn't yet been disclosed. The other thing is, when you actually go to capture a Pokemon, much like in Pokemon Go, you have the CP, don't you? The combat points, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you actually do get a screen that gives you the Pokemon's level and gives you the capture points of it.
Really? So we've still got that going as well. So what it could be then is these could be a set-alone games specifically made for the for Pokemon Go compatibility, like the Go Plus, as well as a feature as an accessory.
Yeah, so you're still getting those capture points. Those not capture points; they're combat points, aren't they?
They are indeed.
Yes. So you're still getting the levels, you're still getting the combat points. So presumably, as you're leveling up, the combat points go up, and that I'm presuming that is how it goes in Pokemon Go, isn't it?
Yes, the combat points go up.
Yeah, except you give them candies, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, that might be something that is in this game.
That's the point, actually. Thinking about it, anyone who does raid battles at the moment, unless they change it, every time you knock out one of the raid bosses, you get rare candy. People stack them up just in case. If you're going to be playing this thing, then stack them up. That's my suggestion, anyway.
Yeah, but so it could be that another way of gaining experience in this is through candies, maybe, possibly. Don't quote me. But yeah, you wanted to talk about the new controller that's coming out, the Pokeball controller.
Yes, because it's actually got me quite excited.
Right. It's interesting.
It is a Pokeball. It is a controller, and you can load a Pokemon into that thing and go off with it.
Yes, that's the interesting feature, is putting the Pokemon in the Pokeball.
All I can say to that is, Nintendo, shut up and take my money.
I'm wondering, there has to be some sort of feature to that, though. There's got to be some sort of reasoning why you can, because although it's a nifty thing, it's cool how you can just put your Pokemon in the Pokeball, but there's something more to that.
Of course there is. I believe it's going to be something similar to the buddy system that's currently running Pokemon Go now.
Possibly, or it might be, if you remember the Pokewalkers.
The Pokewalkers, which actually keep the price of the games up now. Even now, you will find them at £50.
I find them about 32 in second-hand stores, but yeah, they're keeping the price high. But yeah, the Pokewalkers are. I'm wondering whether this will have the same feature as the Pokewalkers, where it's, as you're walking, it's making the Pokemon gain experience.
That is something that I was wondering myself, and it actually had crossed my mind to be something along that sort of lines.
I personally think that is going to be the case, because other than it being a controller and being really cool having your Pokemon in a Pokeball on you at all times, there's more to it. There has to be. Another interesting feature that I think probably going to be the last feature that we talk about, unless there's something else. No, sorry, there's two features. One of the features is the whole petting and putting clothes on your Pokemon.
Why are we dressing Pokemon up? I know there was a slogan, play the game your way.
Yeah, well,
but
bear in mind, this isn't the first time that a feature like this has appeared.
No, I know, but it's not a dress-up game. It is a Pokemon game.
I know,
Pokemon
but
wearing clothes, going to battle. What's happening? The clothes are getting destroyed.
I think that it's a pretty... Yeah, but you're talking about realism in a game where you're having an electric mouse firing thunderbolts. Forget realism.
No, I'm actually referring to having a flaming mouse shooting
fair
fire
enough.
blasts from its face.
The point that I'm trying to get at is forget about the realism about it and just think about it as the coolness of it on having, like, the one example I've got is that that Eevee with those scientific glasses on him.
All I'm going to say right now is, why did you have to use the Eevee example? You know it's going to break me.
Well, I gotta fine. I'll move it on to the Pikachu. I like the I've got the screen right now on the Pikachu with the cap, the kind of ash-like cap, and the jacket. Probably one of my favorites. Although that Pikachu on the screen does not look impressed by the get-up, but I think it looks cool. It's non-practical, I will agree. It's interesting and it's funny, you know. The other, and I mean, it shows this in the combat as well. It actually shows them in the dress in the combat, which is, again,
Okay, that is a
interesting.
nice feature to be able to see that, but unless there's some sort of boost to your strength or your speed or what have you, or an attribute boost from the clothes, personally, I don't really see the point.
I think it's more cosmetic. I think they're running down the line of, a lot of these games, a lot of main games right now, um, a lot of cosmetics going into them. Not that I'm mentioning any, but certainly with certain instances such as loot boxes, a lot of cosmetic items. I think this is essentially the cosmetic items of Pokemon. As I said, it's not the first time they've done it with cosmetics on Pokeballs. They've done it with cosmetics in X and Y with the Pikachu. There are a few other times when you do cosmetics, which are more than just the contests in Pokemon. But, it's not the first time. It's just one of the more interesting times where that is going throughout the game. Another interesting feature, and probably the second to last feature that we're going to talk about, riding Pokemon.
Yes, I've been looking at this and I've been enjoying just the thought of being able to take a Rhyhorn or a
Mm,
Rhydon, if you
mm,
will, even,
mm.
and just riding it around.
Yeah. We don't
Even
get
just
much
going
of
into
the.
my own Pokemon and taking, oh, there's my Lapras. I'm going to ride my Lapras in the ocean. Okay, we used to be able to do that with Surf.
Yeah, we don't get much of the feature in the trailer, but certainly, will every Pokemon be rideable? Okay, that actually does sound stupid when you say it out loud, but certain Pokemon are going to be rideable. Three examples that they give in the trailer are the Onix, the Lapras, and the Charizard. Are certain other Pokemon? Is it just going to be limited to a certain
That I'm
time?
not sure myself, because from what the slogan said about playing your way, tells me that you can pretty much do anything you'd want to in that respect. Meaning, if you want to run around on a Rapidash, for example, and race around on said Rapidash, then they're not going to be stopping you. They're going to be enabling you to do that.
Makes sense, but I still think there's going to be limits to it, such as I know that Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, you can ride Pokemon as well. I think this is actually a follow-up feature to those.
Yes, I believe so myself.
There's only a certain amount of Pokemon that are rideable. I think that's going to be the way they're going, and
I think the
personally, I
rule of
still
thumb in the
like it.
anime was, or is rather, anything that's bigger than you can ride it.
That would be lush. That would be brilliant if they did that, because certainly, as you said, riding a Rapidash through the game, brilliant. You want to ride that Rhyhorn, it's a brilliant idea. I would enjoy for that to be the case. Having a Gyarados, being on the back of a Gyarados going through the ocean, brilliant.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be that way. Hopefully it's not just going to be the classic Lapras riding that is featured in more or less every single game. Hopefully the bigger ones are the ones that we're looking at. So yeah. And boss battles. At the end of the trailer, you see the boss battle against Mewtwo.
Yes.
Now, I'm interested in that. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be like certainly in the Red and Blue games and Fire Red and Leaf Green, the main boss of the end of those, and seeing as how this is a Kanto game, the main boss of that was Mewtwo. You went into the unknown dungeon and you got to fight Mewtwo. I'm thinking that's exactly what we're going to have in this game.
It certainly seems it from what I could see, because I believe I also saw the legendary birds.
Whether Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos are going to be boss battles in this game, could be. But certainly we do know that this Mewtwo is essentially going to be a boss battle in the game. How it's going to work out, I'm interested. Is this Mewtwo catchable? Obviously, probably will be. But I'm wondering how that's going to work, because it's also a fact you don't get battles in the wild. Are you going to be battling this Mewtwo? Is this going to be more of the raid system that you get in Pokemon Go? Interesting to see. Also, the Rockets are going to be back in the game. First time we've seen them in a while.
If it's based in Kanto, you need Team Rocket.
Of course you do. Of course you need Team Rocket. I'm wondering whether there's going to be a story basis involving Team Rocket.
There should be, from the way it looked. The way it was presented, it tells me there's going to be a decent storyline. One thing we can count on with the Pokemon Company itself, as far as storylines go, it is a decent storyline.
That is true. Always has been a decent storyline. So yeah,
Sometimes
certainly
it's been too short.
Yeah, certainly.
Pointing no fingers in any specific generations.
Yeah, I'm certainly. I would not be of any opinion on saying that there was a very short one in the recent games.
And oddly enough, then going back to the Pokemon games that finished off another handheld as such before they came over to 3DS.
Yeah,
again,
but
that was too short storyline.
Yeah.
But again, we're not pointing fingers.
No. But yeah, certainly, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the game, and I'm pretty sure you are too.
I am indeed. I do intend to have it here about a week later at the most.
Yes, because the actual release date we have it looks like worldwide, will be November 16th.
Oh, with some luck, I should be able to have it on the day then.
I'm hoping to have it on the day as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's more or less everything for this video. Is there anything else that you can think of, Professor Geran?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, everything that I wanted to say, I've been able to say.
Brilliant. Alright then, well, thank you for joining me.
And not a problem at all.
And thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. Take care, Professor Geran. And see you next time.
Thank you very much.